This is Texans TV.
Today on the show, we hit the rewind button and go to Indianapolis in 2015.
The Texans finally capture their white whale. They beat the Colts in Indianapolis for the first time ever.
Texans 360 is now.
We are ready to rock in Houston. Rock and roll. Oh, let's go!
Guess when you think you've seen it all, there's always something else.
It's you and me, Drew Dougherty, and Marc Vandermeer, the voice of the Houston Texans, and this is all Texans 360. We're so excited that you're with us. We're so excited that you're with us. Marc, how you been, my friend?
I've been great, Drew. It's been a very busy offseason. I'm sure you've noticed, okay?
Yes.
I've got my roster with me. I'm trying to memorize everything, although we don't have a lot of numbers assigned to these new guys. We got to get on that fast.
We're going to get on that. We're going to get on much, much more. We're giving away so much later in the show to some folks who could use it. Plus, we're breaking down some of these new running backs, and we might just make the big guy to my left cry a little bit later when we revisit a moment from 2015. But we start things off getting ready for the draft. We're days away from it. We're going to have a pretty fun NFL draft special on HoustonTexans.com. We're going to have you covered throughout the whole process, not just on day 2 and day 3 when the Texans are picking, but day 1 as well.
All starts Thursday night with Johnny, Andre, and myself anchoring the first round. Look, we have no picks in the first round, but we're there anyway to cover it all on Sports Radio 610 and the Texans app all the way through. You know, John Harris, he's Mr. Draft. He can do the whole thing by himself if we asked him to. In fact, that's very tempting, is it not, Johnny? But it'll be a lot of fun, Drew. We're all anxious and eager to see how Nick Casario handles his first draft as the Texans GM.
Very Jack Nicholson-esque when you did that Johnny there to set things up. But enough of the fun stuff, because we've got to get serious. So for that, we're going to turn to the guy making the decisions in this year's draft for the Houston Texans, the man at the top who, he'll tell you, hey, it's a team effort, it's not me, it's we. But General Manager Nick Casario had a chance to go one-on-one, or really two-on-one, with this guy and John Harris. And here is a snippet of that conversation.
Marc Vandermeer, John Harris with you with General Manager Nick Casario on Texans Radio. And Nick, take us through a little bit of the process here. What's it been like getting ready for this draft with your staff, with the coaching staff? You guys have been entrenched for a little while now.
Oh, it's been awesome, Mark. We've spent a lot of time collectively, both staffs kind of independently with the coaching staff, kind of getting some of their feedback and some evaluations on some players and interfacing that with some of the things that we've accumulated to this point from a scouting side. I think the work that Lip and Baz and their respective staffs have done to get us to this point has been exemplary. So, you know, we're excited about the opportunity in front of us, and we're just going to try to maximize our picks whenever those are and just be prepared to pick like whenever that is.
Nick, obviously last year we had a combine but no pro days. This year we've had pro days but no combine. Do you find one better than the other or just different?
It's a good question, John. I would say probably more different, but I don't think like the information or the evaluation specifically from the workout standpoint is any different, right? I think the beauty of the combine is that he had a centralized hub, right, and location where there was 300 or so players-ish roughly, right? So you were able to accomplish a number of different things, right? Interviews, meeting with players on a face-to-face basis, medicals, and then on-field, right? So you're able to do that all in one spot. This year it's a little bit more fragmented, right? Because essentially you have the pro day, which you get the on-field, right? But there's nothing else that could take place at the schools. In the medical, there's 150 that went to Indy, so you're getting that information, right? And then you're doing the interviews over Zoom, right? So it's a little bit more disjointed and in terms of how you have to do it, but you're still trying to arrive at the same endpoint. So the beauty of the combine, it's just kind of centralized, it puts everything in one spot. This has just been a little bit different, but I wouldn't say that it's been less effective.
I know you were asked about this, but I always find it fascinating. Need versus best player available. And if there's a really good player available, but you really don't need that player, do you think about dropping down because you might need another position group a few picks down? You think, well, I could drop down here. And those decisions have to take place so quickly. So how do you handle all of that, Nick?
Yeah, Mark, it's a great question. So what you have to do is you're working through the draft and the players are coming off, right? And you're kind of looking at the players graded at different levels, right? You just have to assess the information real time and then just look at whatever the alternatives are and then decide like, okay, what makes the most sense at that time.
Nick, how are you guys going to spend Thursday night? Are you in the war room like it's picks as usual? I'm barring a trade. You don't have any picks in the first round. So how do you spend Thursday night one of the draft?
We're going to have a staring contest. We're going to have beanbag toss. No, I mean, again, I think the good thing for us is just kind of go through our process, right? Set up the team boards. If there's trades that happen, okay, how do we move? So going through our process, like we can still simulate that and go through it and just understand there's going to be probably, 55, 60-ish players that are going to come off over Thursday to Friday evening. And again, you want to be respectful of the process, and there's certain things that we can do. We can have some discussions about maybe some particular players, or again, just trades happen. Okay, what was a trade? Okay, and just go through the mechanics. This way, when we actually get to that point, whenever we pick, it's kind of seamless, and we just haven't sat around and done nothing, which hopefully we won't do.
Thanks a lot for joining us. Best of luck in the draft.
Thanks, Mark. Thanks, John. Appreciate it.
Always cool to hear from the GM. And listen, at this time of year, all NFL GMs, for the most part, say as little as possible. What'd you glean, though, from him, from what you heard there and what you heard in the press conference before?
Well, from various conversations we've had, you can tell that he is certainly willing to move up and down the board, Drew. And I think based on the amount, the volume, how do we do it? Volume of acquisitions that he's had so far throughout this free agency process and the trades, I think that Nick Casario is going to move up and down that board a little bit as the draft continues. They'll see a player they like, hey, let's move up a spot or two to get him. And look, these trades aren't exactly going to lead off Sports Center when you're in the 4th, 5th round, whatever, but they could turn out to be really significant players. He talks about real time. They're in that room, and they got to make decisions on the fly, and you might have 3, 4 guys you're like, all right, well, who are we going to take? And Nick has to make that final decision. I would love to be in that room to see how it all goes down. It's going to be fun to see what the results are.
Yeah, I saw him later that day after you guys talked with him, and I said, hey, can I see your hands? And he held them up for me, and his hands looked fine. I would have thought they'd have been burnt, because of all the transactions that he's made on his phone, on his computer. Over like 70 transactions total when you add and subtract guys from this roster. Now, it's going to be interesting because there are so many new faces already on the roster. That doesn't necessarily impact draft strategy for Caserio. He said so himself.
Well, I think best player available, you hear it all the time, it's a cliche. And what are the positions of need? Well, you could say everything and nothing, because they have a lot of guys at every position group, and I could say they could field a team right now based on the acquisitions they've made. Nick now has full control of the draft. He had such great influence. He was very influential in the Patriots draft, but he wasn't the final say. Now he is, and we're all excited to see what he gets.
Yeah, we're days away. At long last, it's going to be here. Reminder, 8 picks for the Texans this year, starting in the 3rd round. That's when they choose at 67th overall. Their 3rd, their 4th, and their 5th. Those are their picks. Every pick after that, they've gotten via trade. So they have swapped out of those final five or so picks. It's going to be fun to see. All right, don't go anywhere, because when we come back, John Harris is taking a deeper look at some of the running backs that are on the roster right now and what they've done really well in their careers. This is Texans 360. We're here in the Ford Studios. That's Mark. I'm Drew. This is Texans 360. And Mark, quick question. 3-headed monster at running back for the Texans in the fall?
Maybe, Drew, because look, you had David Johnson, Phillip Lindsay, Mark Ingram to a backfield with Buddy Howell, who's a good special teams player for you. You still have Scotty Phillips there. And who knows who else you get in this draft or undrafted free agency. I think there's a chance it could be. Though today's NFL often utilizes at least 2 running backs who get the bulk of your rushing yardage as running backs. But sometimes the quarterback is your second leading rusher, sometimes not. So we have to see how that all goes. But I like the options they have so far. Even though Ingram's been around a long time, he can still bring it. Lindsey has a lot of upside. He's the youngest one of the bunch. And we saw what David Johnson did at the end of the year when things finally got going on offense. Let's see how it all gels, because we're just getting started here.
And let's see a little bit more about Lindsey and Ingram. John Harris breaks down what they do well here in the Telstrain.
Welcome to Texans Telstrator, presented by BMW. I'm your host, John Harris, and we're going to take a look at the Texans' running game and a couple of additions in the backfield that hopefully will take it from one of the worst to hopefully one of the better ones in the NFL. The two additions, two veterans, Mark Ingram, Phillip Lindsay. Let's take a look at Mark Ingram here and what he brings to the table. And he's playing, obviously, for the Ravens last year. This is against the Washington football team. And it's going to be just a little counter play, pull the guard. Ricard's going to come block, a little counter play, get through here. It's going to be a 7-yard play for Mark Ingram. First and 10, though, gets you a 2nd and 3. This is nice. So we'll see it from this angle. And there's not much you can see. You can see this run, kind of him dart through there. You're like, all right, it's a good run. 7 yards, man. You got to like that. You should love a 7-yard run on first down. This is the angle where you start to see some of the things that a veteran can do. There isn't going to be too much space here. In college, you might have like all of that. In the NFL, you're going to get that and that. You got to work your way through it. Mark Ingram's a 215-pound back. I want you to watch how he gets skinny through this hole that ends up developing. He has the vision to see where the hole's going to develop. Right there, you think, okay, maybe that hole is back here. But he stays true to the blocking, and then right there, see him get skinny through that hole? That hole is not big. He's 215-pound back, but he's making himself about 185 to get through that hole. And had they blocked this on the backside, Mark Ingram's got a little bit more than just 7 yards. But you can see the vision, getting skinny, doing the little things that running backs have got to do. Well, let's take a look at a running back doing the little things against the LA Chargers on a touchdown run. From this angle, you're going to see it and go, okay, a good run. You know, had some space, got through a hole and made a guy miss. All good stuff right there. But let's take a look at from the end zone view. You can really appreciate this for Phillip Lindsay. Okay. Linebacker's going to come. He's going to slant inside there, defensive lineman. And so when this guard pulls around, he's expecting to block Melvin Ingram right here. But because of the way the Chargers have played this, what ends up happening is 71 pulls across, and the only guy, he doesn't have eyes for Kenneth Murray. So what happens is, as Drew Lock hands off to Lindsay, look at that. That's one-on-one in a hole. That's old school Oklahoma drill. And Lindsay just, watch this cut. This cut is phenomenal. Right there. Plant that right inside foot and go. And what that does is it then gives 71 to, I got to peel back on 56. Bang. Now he's into the open. And now it's just a matter of, can he make a guy miss? And he does. He makes two guys miss. But that cut, right there. The vision to see where he's cutting to, getting around Murray, making Murray end up getting blocked by 71 when it wasn't there originally because 71 didn't see it. Phillip Lindsay, Mark Ingram bring a little something different to the table for this running game. We're really excited to see it.
In just a sec, we go back to 2015 and the first victory ever at Indianapolis. More Texans 360 is on the way. Glad you're with us here on Texans 360. Drew Dougherty with the voice of the Houston Texans, Marc Vandermeer. And back in 2015 in Indianapolis, might I say there was a little glistening in your eye when the Texans pulled off their first win there?
Look, I was not weeping, okay,
Right.
Drew? And look, we always talk about what's the greatest win or your top 3 favorite wins or whatever. And I think your favorite doesn't have to be the best.
Sure.
In music, movies, whatever. My favorite win is this win. 2015 at Indy. You had never won there before, 0-13 all time, and then you go up there and you beat them for the first time ever. TJ Yates starts the game. Brandon Weeden comes off the bench. He had played for the Cowboys earlier in the season. You'd never beaten Indianapolis before up there, and you do it on that day, a 16-10 victory. I will never forget when the final moments were done and I walked out of that broadcast booth, my arms in the air as if I had played almost, because all the years of frustration were relieved in that moment. And this is your nemesis. It was so beautiful to get that victory.
It really was. You'd been under the thumb of Peyton Manning and the Colts for so very long, and that thumb got squashed in 2015. We're all looking back on it in the film room. The Texans first started playing football games in 2002.
That's correct.
They played the Indianapolis Colts in Indianapolis and in Houston every single season since. They didn't get their first win in Indianapolis until 2015. It was a long, slow march, but it all changed when they changed quarterbacks and changed quarterbacks again in the 2015 season and changed within this game and went to Brandon Weeden, who pound for pound had a pretty successful Texans career.
He did. And it came down to this play. This was a 90-yard drive. And the Colts were their own issue on this play. They had 12 men on the field on a third down play. They gave us a first down. And Jalen Strong out here was a guy that seemingly found a way to make big plays against the Indianapolis Colts. In fact, he caught a pass earlier in this game in the first half from Brandon Weeden right on the sidelines. The ref said he didn't catch it. They reviewed it, said he caught it. That allowed Texans to kick a field goal. Nick Novak cut the lead. This, though, was to give the Texans a lead here, and I think it's a great play call. Jalen Strong is going to kind of yo-yo motion and set up right behind Dwayne Brown right there. The ball is snapped. It's going to be a little bootleg action, and then Jalen is going to dump off into this flat right over here. Weeden gets him the ball, and then it's a race for the end zone. And then all the fun begins as we take a look at our Microsoft Surface here. See Brandon moves Jalen, starts him, realizes it's man coverage because, and you can see the DB, number 20, going back and forth with him. Like, okay, that's man. That's man, I know what it is. And so now you see Jalen dart back this way, all the action going this way.
With the DB going the other.
And then that DB is actually not in bad shape. But Jalen is just going to catch it and then beat him to the end zone, and then the craziness ensues. And by craziness, you see this guy right over here just losing his mind. And
that guy's you, man. You're the radio sideline reporter for the Texans, and you got a little bit out of control almost.
Almost. As you can see, all of this action is coming right at me. And I'm focused on Jalen, but I'm also focused on the official right under me. Now, as this all takes place, this referee moves back. I'm behind the yellow line, maybe. And so as I come down and he keeps backing up, I nearly landed on the official, but I didn't. And you'll see Jalen Strong get in the end zone right there.
After the break, we're giving out equipment, y'all. Texans 360 rolls on. A month ago, HEB donated $10,000 to the DePelchin Foundation through an online auction.
DePelchin is known for identifying kids that have dangerous home situations and may benefit from foster or adoptive services, not just in Houston, but in the state of Texas. This year's Texas Bowl gave us the opportunity to work with the bowl game and identify a way to raise money to help DePelchin, and we did that via silent auction.
We've had a relationship with the Texas Bowl for over 15 years, and for those 15 years, they've been supporting us keep children safe, happy, and healthy, and finding children who need forever homes, those homes.
I don't know what we would have done without DePelchin. They really supported us and helped us through the whole process of adoption and fostering, and we're just so grateful for all the opportunities and the fun events that they plan.
The Benura family also received a $500 HEB gift card, along with cleats that the family designed themselves, which were then signed by Pro Football Hall of Famer Robert Brazile.
This family has taken on many kids, so we're happy to work with Lone Star Sports to give them a little mini shopping spree in store, to have them here as part of the recognition, and really to show them as the type of family you might find benefiting from the DePelchin services and some of the money that we're able to donate through this initiative.
We are back. That was so much fun up in Magnolia this week. 8 children. Mm-hmm. You've got 2 children. I've got 5. Little kids are so much fun, and it's cool to see them getting to go grocery shopping and have a little fun with the fam, right?
It is, and HEB does a great job. You know, Scott McClellan, their president, we do a lot with him. We do a lot with HEB, and, you know, he believes what the Texans believe, do great things for Houston, take care of the customer, and it's fun to do things with them. And, hey, you went up to Magnolia, which is so easy to get to now, 249. You Magnolia people, we're on to you. It's a great place.
He's like speaking for your Chamber of Commerce.
Yes.
The Texans doing other great things throughout the rest of the community. They recently helped out some good folks at Davis High School.
We're at Davis High School in Aldine ISD. The Texans came over and a couple players talked to our kids about life and talked to them about working hard and what they have to do to work and be successful in life. And they gave our kids a bunch of shoes, t-shirts, bags, shoulder pads, a lot of things our kids went nuts over.
Everybody put on Instagram their joys and Twitter and all their joys and stuff they do, the good things they do in life, but then I tell you about the grind that y'all gotta go through. I mean, like, I was blessed to be able to get into the NFL, but that's a small chance. Now, that's not here to tell y'all that it can't be done, but because I'm a prime example of it can be done.
Just to be able to come out and talk to these guys and have an everlasting impact on them moving forward in any of their endeavors going into this journey. To know that we're behind them and know that the things can be done. So just having somebody that kind of looks like them and been where they've been in there before and trying to get to where they want to get to, it's going to mean a lot later on down the road.
Watch y'all some gifts here, man. This is it basically from us to y'all to help y'all out. I know this is a perfect time to get deep into your technique. Especially you can't really do much if you ain't got the right gear. So we got y'all some cleats here, we got a bag full of gear, we got the shoulder pads here.
The type of gear that the Houston Texans have is top notch, and our kids seeing that type of gear and seeing those type of shoes and seeing the shirts and the bags, you know, hopefully it encourages them to keep working hard to have those type of things, either in college or in the pros and wherever they are, but you know, they have to work hard to be able to get there.
So I just encourage you guys to love each other up and support each other. You know, really, it's really not about a family, but it's more about a brotherhood. Or, you know what I mean? Hold each other accountable.
Don't rush through things because you might miss something. These are all of a process that it takes to get to where you want to go. Now, if y'all, the freshmen, sophomores, and juniors as well, everybody else except for the seniors, this is y'all time to continue to start building habits to take over for what the seniors going to leave off for y'all.
Basically just told them that odds are going to be stacked against you, just like myself. I mean, I was not the biggest, not the fastest. You know, in high school, I was very small, playing my position. But for me to be able to do it and just fight through it and persevere through it, it just shows that it can be done. So that's my main message, just telling anyone that it can be done no matter what your circumstance is. Just turn it into motivation.
Give him a hand for being here. We appreciate it. I appreciate y'all.
That's all we have this week on Texans 360, but don't you forget, we're back again next Saturday, and on Sunday evening, we've got the Texans draft special. We're putting a bow on everything the Texans did. It's going to be fun.
Yeah, better get some sleep now because the draft is like this marathon. It's like a telethon. It's endless. So we're really looking forward to covering it for everybody.
Always great seeing you. Thanks so much for coming on.
Drew.
We'll have you again very, very soon. Thanks so much to Mitchell Moreland and Tyler Markoff for putting the show together, as well as a host of others. Until then, we will see you, and go Texans. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to know when we post new content.